Meet Linda. She's 49, a mother of two, a dedicated accountant, and someone who's always been proud of keeping everything in her life under control. But as her 50th birthday approaches, Linda feels something new, an unfamiliar mix of excitement and anxiety. She's heard the sayings, 50 is the new 40, or age is just a number. But deep down, she wonders, what does turning 50 really mean? And how do I prepare for it? Today, we're going to walk through Linda's journey, and maybe yours too, as she discovers what it takes to step confidently into this new chapter. It all started on a quiet Saturday morning. Linda was sipping her coffee, flipping through old photos, her kids' first steps, family vacations, her 40th birthday party with that ridiculous chocolate cake. She smiled but then paused. I'm not that person anymore, she thought. Her knees ached a little more these days. Her reading glasses were now a permanent accessory. And her energy? Well, it wasn't what it used to be. She realized 50 wasn't just a milestone. It was a turning point. So, she grabbed a notebook and wrote at the top, things to prepare for turning 50. First on her list, health. Linda booked a full checkup, something she'd been putting off for years. The doctor checked her blood pressure, cholesterol, and even talked about bone density. You're entering a phase where prevention is everything, the doctor said. Linda learned that after 50, risks like heart disease, diabetes, and osteoporosis creep up. She left with a plan, more calcium-rich foods like yogurt and kale, a daily walk, and a promise to get that flu shot she'd always skipped. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt empowering. Step 1, done. Next, Linda thought about movement. She'd never been a gym rat, but her friend Sarah convinced her to start walking together. It's not about running marathons, Sarah said. It's about staying mobile. They started with 20 minutes a day, chatting about life, laughing at old stories. Soon, Linda noticed her stiffness easing up. She even added some light stretching at home. Nothing fancy, just enough to keep her joints happy. She wrote in her notebook, stay active, but keep it simple. Then came food. Linda loved her burgers and fries, but she knew her body needed more now. She started experimenting, swapping out chips for roasted veggies, adding salmon to her weekly menu for those omega-3s her doctor mentioned. It wasn't a diet, it was a shift. One night, her husband joined her in the kitchen, and they laughed as they burned their first attempt at quinoa. Not bad for 50, he teased. Linda realized eating well didn't mean giving up joy. It meant finding new ways to enjoy it. But it wasn't all physical. Linda noticed her mind racing more, worries about aging, her kids moving out, her career slowing down. So, she tried something new, mindfulness. She downloaded an app and started with 5 minutes of deep breathing each morning. At first, it felt silly, sitting there with her eyes closed, listening to a voice tell her to focus on the present. But slowly, she found calm in the chaos. One day, she sat longer, 10 minutes, and pictured herself on a beach, waves crashing gently. It wasn't magic, but it was a start. She added mental health to her list, vowing to talk to a friend or even a counselor if the stress got heavy. She also picked up a journal, scribbling thoughts late at night, sometimes gratitude, sometimes fears. Turning 50, she decided, wasn't just about the body, it was about peace of mind too. One day, Linda met her old college buddies for coffee. They swapped stories about gray hairs and creaky knees, but then the conversation shifted. What's next? One asked. Linda realized she'd been so busy looking back, she hadn't thought about looking forward. Her friend Jane mentioned volunteering at a local animal shelter, and Tom talked about taking up woodworking. Inspired, Linda added purpose to her list. She remembered how she used to love painting, those messy canvases she'd abandoned when the kids came along. That weekend, she dug out her old brushes, set up an easel in the garage, and started with a simple sunset. It wasn't perfect, but it felt like hers. Maybe it was time to volunteer too, or finally book that trip to Italy she'd dreamed about since her 30s. 50 wasn't the end. It was a chance to start something new, to rediscover who she could be. Then there was money. Linda sat down with her husband to review their savings. Retirement wasn't here yet, but it was closer than ever. They talked about cutting unnecessary expenses, like that gym membership she never used, and boosting their emergency fund. She met with a financial advisor who said, "Plan now, relax later." He walked her through Roth IRAs, healthcare costs, and even long-term care insurance, things Linda had never thought about before. It was overwhelming at first, numbers swirling in her head, but then she saw it, a future where she could travel or spoil her grandkids without worry. She wrote, "Prepare financially. 50 is for freedom, not stress." And just for fun, she started a little side jar labeled Italy Fund, dropping in a few dollars each week. It was small, but made her smile. Finally, Linda thought about connection. Her kids were grown, her parents were aging, and her circle felt smaller. She hosted a family dinner, just spaghetti and stories, and felt a warmth she'd missed. Her daughter shared college updates, her son cracked jokes, and her parents reminisced about their own 50s. Later, Linda called her sister, who lived 3 states away, and they talked for an hour, something they hadn't done in months. She even knocked on her neighbor's door with a plate of cookies, sparking a chat that turned into a weekly coffee date. Linda decided to keep those ties strong, send a text, make a call, show up. 50, she realized, was about cherishing the people who mattered most, and maybe even building new bonds along the way. The big day came. Linda turned 50 with a cake, chocolate, of course, and a room full of laughter. She looked at her notebook, now filled with lessons, health checkups, daily walks, better food, a calm mind, new dreams, smart money moves, and love all around. She wasn't the same Linda from the photo album, and that was okay. She was stronger, wiser, ready. So, what does it take to prepare for 50? It's not about fighting age, it's about embracing it. Like Linda, you can start small, a doctor's visit, a walk, a new recipe, a quiet moment. Because 50 isn't just a number, it's a new beginning. What's on your list?